Rachel, Alicia, you wants to know, if you booked Donald Trump on your show, what would your first question be?
Are you going to send me or anybody that I know to a camp?
Yes, Rachel Maddow. She's got dreams and fantasies about going to camp. I assume an all-girls camp. That was Rachel Maddow in 2016. She's back at it, though. Once again, she's very concerned that Donald Trump might send her to camp. She hates canoeing. Now, I think E. Jean Carroll of the Bergdorf Goodman dressing room some number of years ago was very excited when she was awarded an enormous, obscene amount of money for not being able to remember what year it was that Donald Trump was allegedly mean to her at Bergdorf Goodman in New York. And E. Jean Carroll, when she won the money, asked, what are you going to do with your hundreds of billions of dollars? What are you going to do? And she said, E. Jean Carroll, that what she really wants to do is go on vacation with Rachel Maddow.
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours, Rachel.
Yeah, and she said we're going to go to France and go fishing, which is a little strange. I don't think most people think of fishing when they think of France, but maybe I'm leaving out a detail or two.
France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France?
And now Rachel Maddow is back to the camp fantasies. She's got new camp fantasies because Donald Trump may win the presidency. And so the New York Post has the story. And, I believe that NBC pays Rachel Maddow $30 million a year for 1 day a week. She occasionally shows up to do minor hits other than that, but 1 day a week for 1 hour and $30 million a year because she checks a lot of boxes, so to speak. Rachel Maddow worried Trump will send her to camps if he's elected president. This is today's headline. Just amazing. She's at it again. She's really obsessed with Donald Trump and camp. I think maybe she was deprived of many things as a child. She needs a lot of help. This is not a mentally well group of people we're dealing with here. It really isn't. Boy, is it not a well group of people. Extraordinary. But the amazing story in the New York Post is that she's afraid of camp again. And when we saw this headline, Michael and I said, well, this is not the first time because she was afraid of being sent to camp last time around too. And then Trump was president for 4 years. And, they don't have much of a memory for the news, do they? No, they don't. Pretty amazing stuff. Extraordinary. Yeah. Sadly for us, she didn't do an audio interview. Rachel Maddow said she's worried Donald Trump returning to the presidency could mean that she would wind up in camps intended to house illegal immigrants, is what she's saying. The MSDNC host told CNN. What was she doing on CNN? Well, wait a minute. George Snuffleupagus from the Clinton White House and ABC Fake News, he was on CNN yesterday talking about the first question, the gotcha question for Donald Trump. And then Rachel Maddow is on CNN. It's almost like they're all colluding with one another, like they're all in bed with one another, like it's a great big circle fest in a hot tub. Boy, oh boy. So she said on Monday she's worried about the country broadly if we put someone in power who's openly avowing that he plans to build camps to hold millions of people. That's not true. He just didn't say that. That's not true. So always start your premise with falsehoods. Now here's, you're building this on it's a castle made of sand. And Trump said he's going to build camps to hold millions of people. He is talking about deporting millions of people, but no mention of camps. and to root out what he's described as she says, in subhuman terms, as the enemy from within. Well, honestly, that's the left at this point. And Maddow said, for that matter, what convinces you that these massive camps he's planning, which he's not, are only for migrants? She says, what convinces you that these massive camps are only for migrants? So yes, I'm worried about me, but only as much as I'm worried about all of us. She's very concerned about all of us. And she thinks that there might be camps. Now, they have these Nazi fantasies. The Nazis were, of course, the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, and they were authoritarian and totalitarian. And you guys are authoritarian. We are the anti-authoritarian people. But we do like national sovereignty and think that's a good thing. Just amazing. And they're just so wretched and pathetic. Last time around, she was afraid of camps, too. All right, let's see. Let's take a phone call. Let's go to Mike the Lib. And also, this is our mailbag day as well. Our mailbag day coming up. Let's go to Mike the Lib. Mike the Lib, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Mike the Lib.
I'm here at the Haymarket Gainesville Library for the last days of early voting. Saturday's the last day till 5 o'clock, weekdays till 4:30.
That's very good.
We got to stop Trump's lies about voter fraud in order to save our free and fair elections.
Voter fraud? Got to stop Trump's lies about voter fraud. How about Hillary Clinton saying she had the election stolen from her?
No, Chris. Trump falsely accused people of committing.
No, wait. I just asked. What about Hillary? What about Hillary saying that the election was stolen from her?
There was a Russian break-in of the DNC electronically, and that information was then given to.
There was
WikiLeaks. Yes, it was.
To WikiLeaks. To WikiLeaks.
And that was laundered through WikiLeaks, and then the Trump campaign. And also Trump asked Russian intelligence to break into Hillary's email server.
Now you come, yeah, sure, that happened. That happened.
And they did. Find the missing emails. How else do you find missing emails except?
I see. That one. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you guys don't have any sense of humor about anything. I've noticed that.
That was not a thing. Russia actually tried to do it at the time.
Well,
actually tried to break in. Yes.
Let me pause here for a sec. Now, you come from the intelligence community. You had a career as an intelligence officer in the intelligence community. And then we saw John Brennan and 51 representatives of the intelligence community tamper in our election, didn't we?
No, they basically are retired. So just like me, being retired, you're allowed to speak out.
CIA directors, Joe Biden used it during the debate against President Trump, the 5 former chiefs of the CIA. And they have the credentials and the security.
There's no hatch out.
You're just repeating yourself over and over again. Now, 50.
I'm telling you the rules. You're allowed to do it once you're out of.
All right, but you're not addressing. You're just parroting the same thing over and over again and interrupting. Now, what I'm asking you is 51 intelligence officials. You can say they're retired. They're still living off of their credentials and their titles when they were in the intelligence community and the news media. They took what they said and they gave us the headlines, and Joe Biden used it in the debate. They tampered in our election, didn't they?
No, they didn't tamper in their election. Like I said, you have the freedom of speech.
It's not a question. You're addressing something that's not on the table.
Okay. Why don't they have the right to freedom of speech, Chris? Tell me that. Why don't they have the right to freedom of speech?
You're such a no, listen. The reality is they tampered in our. I didn't say they don't have the right to lie. They have the right to lie.
They didn't lie. Okay, they didn't lie because the Mueller report even has the facts that the Russian intelligence interfered.
That you're. I don't know what you're talking about anymore, but not what I'm talking about. They were specifically citing the Hunter Biden laptop and
the laptop. Okay, because there was not a complete chain of custody of that laptop. It went
right.
How
about the chain of custody of Hillary Clinton's dossier that the FBI and the Justice Department used before the FISA court to get warrants to spy on the Trump campaign? Did we have a good chain of custody on the Hillary Clinton dossier?
They didn't use the dossier.
No, they did use the dossier at the FISA court.
No. You went to the dossier. You then went and to find out what we had in our own holdings, okay? And did they match anything? The dossier, a lot of the information in the dossier was probably Russian disinformation because they were trying to poison the dossier. They were trying to poison whatever information that he actually collected.
What? I got to tell you, Mike, you're not Mike the Lib. You're not answering that. You're not addressing any of the questions. I am
addressing the question.
I think you're the guy that told us there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, aren't you?
No, I didn't. I was on the team, but I did not do that. I did the missiles in Iraq. I did not do the WMD.
So the Scuds, the Scuds.
No, they weren't Scuds. They were the 150-kilometer range missiles.
All right. Now, listen, Mike, they did tamper, and the FBI tampered in our election, too, by getting a hold of Facebook. I hadn't even finished my sentence, and already you're objecting. This is what's wrong with our intelligence community. They don't listen to the facts.
Tampered with Anthony Weiner, okay, reintroducing information on Anthony Weiner. They shouldn't have leaked that information either.
Anthony Weiner of Humma Weiner and Anthony Weiner? That's not really pertinent to what we're talking about.
That's how the issue about Hillary's emails came back into the campaign in 2016.
Well, and then she had destroyed 33,000 emails of hers, right?
No, you can't destroy emails. I'm sorry.
No, she did. They couldn't recover them because BleachBit
off of her server. But once they're in the internet, I'm telling you, they can't be destroyed.
Well, then why didn't the Justice Department retrieve them?
They may have very well have, but there was nothing on them.
And then they lied to us about it, and because they lied to us about the honestly. I think, Mike the Lib, I think that President Trump, when he's asked about the election, which they're obviously colluding, they're plotting, you heard that, right, ABC and CNN, about
but
what...
there's no evidence. Okay, if there's evidence of voter fraud, he should have to file a criminal complaint. They filed no criminal complaints.
Well, they filed complaints and challenges.
No criminal complaints.
They filed
civil cases. They filed civil cases only, and they lost 60 out of 61 suits. They filed no criminal complaint because voter fraud is a crime. So you have to file a criminal complaint.
It's a crime. You think that the intelligence agents should be brought up on charges and put under oath because they tampered in our election. This is an information operation.
They didn't do anything, Chris, about that. No, they didn't do that. Sorry,
they did.
Didn't do that. No, they did.
I'd say that they did.
And also on the Nazis, you got to get this right for once, Chris. The Nazis they named themselves socialists, but they weren't socialists. It was the German conservatives that put them in power. They were not socialists. They used socialism in their title, just like the GDR wasn't the German Democratic Republic. They weren't Democrats in East Germany, or the People's Republic of China.
Yeah, the Germans, the Nazi Party called themselves a Socialist Workers' Party, and they weren't the communist.
In order to confuse the workers.
It was the workers. You just said the workers.
They were anything but socialist.
Well, they were very socialistic. They were very so. Now they weren't communists. They didn't nationalize every industry. They allowed the industries.
They didn't nationalize any industry. They didn't nationalize any
industry.
Mike,
I know. I just said that, Mike. I just said that. Try to listen, cloth ears. Come on.
That's the definition of socialism.
No, that's communism. No, that's communism.
No, Chris, you don't understand this.
I don't.
You don't understand. No.
And the German Democratic Republic. Here's a good rule for you that you should have learned decades ago, Mike the Lib. Any country that has the word democratic in its name isn't, right? The North Koreans call themselves the Democratic Republic of North Korea. Any country that has the word democratic
they don't call themselves North Korea
in its name, and every country that has the word democratic in its name is not democratic. And the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany was the Nazi Party, and it's what they called themselves. And it
wasn't. They had a real socialist party in Germany, okay?
What do you say? No, it wasn't.
They had a real socialist party.
You say no,
real socialist party.
You say
no, they were not
listen to them
at all. They were not socialists.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's wrong with our intelligence community. This is, here it is. It's quite amazing. Just extraordinary. All right, Mike the Lib, thank you for that very important information. That's remarkable stuff. Yeah. So what is it? And he's out there saying there's early voting. He called in to say early voting in Virginia. So he got that. Got to stop Trump because the rule of law might return to the United States, and the left can't have that. Mike the Lib, I think you're with the Socialist Workers Party in the United States of America. Are you a member of the Socialist Workers Party? Were you down? Mike, I got one for you. Were you down at the White House on Saturday?
No, of course not, Chris.
I was looking for you there because, they had
I wasn't going to be there, Chris.
all the commies were out there, the Jew haters and all that stuff, this June marks 2 years since the overturn of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court. And guess what? The number of abortions has actually skyrocketed since then. In 2023, abortions reached the highest level in the United States since 2012, more than a decade, the opposite of what the Democrats said would happen. And listen, the abortion pill accounting for like 64% of these abortions. Tragic, but no surprise. Now, you need to know about Preborn. Preborn is a ministry of compassion that showers women and babies with God's love, providing free ultrasounds to mothers with unplanned pregnancies. And did you know that when a mother sees her baby in an ultrasound, hears the heartbeat, which is part of the ultrasound experience, it likely doubles the little baby's chance of living a long and happy life, notwithstanding what the Democrats would like. $28 could be the difference between life and death. So please join the fight by sponsoring one ultrasound or 2 or 3 or more ultrasounds if you have the means to do so. You can sponsor Preborn's entire network for a full day for $5,000. A full day, 24 hours across the whole country. Whatever your gift is, you give it and it goes toward helping to save lives. And of course, your gifts are tax deductible as well. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250 on your cell phone, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 and the keyword is baby, or you can visit online preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. Yeah, that's right. No, they didn't tamper, and it's their First Amendment right to tamper in the elections. And they were retired. Yeah, that's not really the way Joe Biden or the news media framed it, though, was it, Mike the Lib? There was some primaries yesterday as well across the country, and I've got some for you on that. Some of it's kind of interesting, and the Democrats, they're just not on our side. And we've got Mailbag coming up too. It's Mailbag Wednesday. In fact, one of the Mailbag questions, dude, I'm the Mailbag. Did you run into Mike the Lib at the Hamas Hezbollah rally at the White House? That's one of the questions. I did not. Dude, I'm at the Mailbag, and I just asked about it since you had asked. It is Wednesday, and that means it's Mailbag Day. It's Mailbag Day every Wednesday. In the Clinton household, however, it's Hump Day. It's Hump Day. And Bill Clinton made it clear long ago. Chop, chop, listen up, lady who will never be president. Although don't count her out yet, because Joe Biden might fall down a flight of stairs when he's at Terry McAwful's house and the Clintons are there, Bill and Hillary. Got to keep the Secret Service. They know that it's their job to keep Hillary away from Joe Biden because he is in grave danger when Hillary is nearby. And there are staircases and open elevator shafts and things like that. She might be behind a curtain with a blow dart gun. A little blow dart gun. I have 2 blow dart guns at home. Got them in Indonesia. They're made of bone. They told me human bone. I'm not sure, though. Kind of carved like dragons. They're fun. Blow dart guns. Hillary is a threat to everyone around her, and probably herself, too. But never mind that. Amazing stuff. Yeah, but it's Hump Day in the Clinton house. So she typically on Wednesday morning wakes up face down in a pool of her own dried vomit with an empty 1-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her. And the Secret Service standing over there shaking their heads once again. Uh-oh, it's Hump Day. It's a reminder every time. Hump Day. Remarkable. But back to Mailbag, because here it's Mailbag Day on Wednesday. And I just shared with you, dude, I'm the bag man. Dude, I'm the bag man. said, did you run into Mike the Lib at the Hamas-Hezbollah rally at the White House, and which my best girl and I attended last Saturday? And I did not run into Mike the Lib, and I just asked Mike the Lib if he was there. He said he was not there, but he had a lot of other stuff wrong today, too. So he might have been there, and he just doesn't know, because that happens. You look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't there, but he's not sure whether he was there or not. All right, stuff. Dwight says, you've had so many fascinating life experiences, like meeting Reagan, flying fighter jets, etc. When are you going to write an autobiography? I know it would be on the New York Times bestseller list. And I said, Michael and I were talking about this morning, I'm much too modest, for an autobiography. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. It's I kid. It would be an exercise in ego. I'm not sure. I've got to get a book out, I think, sooner rather than later, about the world and less about me, perhaps. Me. I know I'm quite fascinating, but I kid. But we'll see about all that. Now, Kevin Kneffel says, Chris, now that Hunter Biden is the first Biden crime family felon, how many more future Biden felons will there be? Good question. If Hunter gets any prison time before the election, I don't think he will. Of course, I didn't think he'd be convicted by the jury. Will Biden pardon him? Well, he promised that he would not pardon him, so I believe that he will commute his sentence. Then he'll say, well, I didn't pardon him. I commuted his sentence. I stuck with my promise. It's not a pardon. It's a commutation. And then he won't go to jail and everything will be fine. And then later on, it will be a full pardon when nobody's looking because Democrats. Amazing stuff. What are the chances of one Biden's open border MS-13 members making Hunter into a woman? See, they're talking about prison now, like Hunter Biden going to prison. I don't think Hunter's going to go to prison. Let's add, I guess not totally out of the question. Might give him 30 days just to, say that he's convicted felon and an ex-convict. That would be fun. But I'm not very hopeful that he will be treated as any other random person would be treated. That's good stuff, though. And Joyce says, no question, just a thanks for all you do. I've listened to you since I think it was 2007. I remember taking my son to preschool when he was 3 years old and listening to you. Joyce said. That's not a question from the mail, but it was very nice because Joyce is very nice and there are nice people out there. There are a lot of nice people. They're called normal people, Americans, normal Americans. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is. That's it. Yeah, I don't think Hunter is going to end up behind bars, whether he belongs behind bars or not. And with MS-13 members, probably not. He'd probably be at a different kind of prison. Crossfire Hurricane wonders, the Dem Lib media attacked James O'Keefe when he used undercover video recordings. Yes, they did. In fact, they raided his home eventually, the FBI did, and arrested him, and they pulled out because someone provided him with the Ashley Biden diary that she, in a passive-aggressive act, left behind at a halfway house or a rehab house or whatever that was, and somebody found it, started reading it, I found your diary underneath the tree and started reading about me, and it turned out it was about the Biden family instead. But they did raid James O'Keefe's home and his office, and they arrested him, and they charged him with crimes because he's an enemy of the state, an enemy of the Democrat Party, and they abuse the Justice Department and the FBI very, very frequently. But so he, Crossfire Hurricane says, that's the name of the FBI racket to target Trump, of course. They attacked James O'Keefe when he used undercover video recordings, but no such criticism of Lauren Windsor, who recorded conservative Supreme Court justices. What do you think about that? Well, I think our media is the most corrupt institution in America, and they're filthy, rotten, cheating on their spouses, cheating on their taxes, cheating on their expense reports, and lying to everybody all day long. Honestly, if you're a network news anchor at home by yourself at night, you're lying quietly. You're just, it's like Chuck Norris doesn't sleep, he waits. Television news anchors don't sleep, they lie. They lie in bed. They lie in their cars. They lie everywhere. Honestly, they lie in bed. It's true. And in fact, I want to get to this Lauren Windsor audio next, as a matter of fact, because this is a wild story as well. I still haven't gotten to the Pelosi stuff and her with the National Guard. All her fault, by the way, all her fault. It was recommended by the U.S. Capitol Police that you'd bring in the National Guard, and Nancy Pelosi put the kibosh on that. And I still want to get to that story in a big way, but yeah, the media they attacked James O'Keefe, used undercover video, and now they're loving Lauren Windsor because they think they got Supreme Court justices to say something that they shouldn't have said, but that's because they're such idiots, really. And T-Bone asked, just for my curiosity, as the mischievous youth that you seem to have been, it's true, what was the first beer you ever drank, and how old were you when you drank it? For me, I was 15, and I drank 3 cans of Schlitz, and I ended up barfing 3 times. Schlitz is a terrible beer, and it was one of my first beers, too. Now, the first beer I ever had, I'd say I was 9 years old. I would say I was 9 years old. And honestly, I believe it was a Schlitz. And it was terrible. Mr. Watson's Garage and neighborhood family friends. And I believe it was a can of Schlitz. And I, if I didn't vomit, I thought about it because Schlitz was a terrible beer, and I still can't drink it to this day. However, in high school, I did start drinking Schlitz malt liquor in the little 7-ounce bottles, the 8-packs, and they were, they were delicious at the time. They were great. That was my high school beer of choice, was Schlitz malt liquor. But yeah, I was 9 years old, and I won't even get into the rest because, it's not time for that yet. But yeah, it was Mr. Watson's Garage, can of Schlitz. They had a fridge in the garage. Mr. Watson kept his beers there, and that, I believe, was the first beer I drank. And I got to say, I didn't like beer much. I went on to Schlitz malt liquor later, but, there was, I don't want to talk out of school too much, but there were whiskey bottles in people's houses and things. It was an Irish family. We had a, Irish Basque family, but mostly Irish Catholic. And so, you know how it is. Yeah, and that's not all, but we don't have to get into all that. Sound like I was bragging or something. All right, and now, thank you for your mailbag questions. And I'm glad I got to them this time, because sometimes I'm off to the races and then who knows. But a great question from one of our wonderful peeps from Crossfire Hurricane. The Dem Lib media attacked James O'Keefe when he used undercover video recordings. No such criticism of Lauren Windsor, who recorded conservative Supreme Court justices. And you're right. And this liberal activist named Lauren Windsor, who I believe was on CNN last night, right? And she's a hero of the story at CNN. But she recorded secretly, surreptitiously, Justice Samuel Alito, a great patriotic American and legal scholar, and Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, on tape. And here is the liberal activist, Lauren Windsor, a hero of the news media, surreptitiously, secretly recording Samuel Alito at a gala. It's a gala.
I support your ruling on dogs. I support, I am very pro-life. But, I don't
She's
know
lying.
How to bridge that gap. How do we get people...
I wish I knew. We need to do what we're supposed to do. But this is a bigger problem. This is way above us.
But she says she's lying. She's a left-wing, baby slaughtering, organ harvesting leftist, and she hates human life. And she's talking to Samuel Alito, and she says, I'm very pro-life, and she's lying. The ABC News headline, because they're corrupt as hell. Justice Alito, in secretly recorded audio, apparently agrees nation needs to return to place of, quote, godliness, end quote. I would agree with that. A liberal filmmaker posing as a conservative, lying out loud, recorded him at a private event. She sneaked in and they love it. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, Chief Justice John Roberts, had no comment Tuesday after a woman posing as a conservative Catholic allegedly secretly allegedly secretly recorded them at a black tie event last week. Lauren Windsor seeking out the justices at the Supreme Court Historical Society annual gala, apparently attempted to engage them in the nation's culture wars. So here's the left-wing activist with Chief Justice John Roberts.
I don't know that we live in a Christian nation. I know a lot of Jewish and Muslim friends who would say maybe not. And it's not our job to do that. It's our job to decide the cases as best we can.
Yeah, they both say exactly the right thing that you'd expect Supreme Court justices to say, who are normal, well-adjusted members of Western civilization in the 21st century. But she heavily edited the audio and posted some on X, and then Rolling Stone magazine published a big piece. And they think they've got a big gotcha here, but they don't. It's part of their stalking the Supreme Court because they're corrupt and they want to pack the Supreme Court. Here's the left-wing radical activist with Martha Alito.
I want a Sacred Heart of Jesus flag because I have to look across the lagoon at the Pride flag for the next month.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, please don't put up a flag. I said, I won't do it because I'm deferring to you. But when you are free of this nonsense, I'm putting it up and I'm going to send them a message every day.
Oh, no. They think that they're entrapping people by saying perfectly normal things like, can you guys get your politics out of our face 24 hours a day? But, why? Why not? ABC News didn't even get into the Martha Alito, but that's because they're targeting the justices themselves, the liberal activists, Lauren Windsor, Samuel Alito.
One side or the other is going to win. There can be a way of working, a way of living together peacefully, but it's difficult, because there are differences on fundamental things that really can't be compromised. Really can't be compromised. So it's not like we're going to split the difference.
Now, the woman is trying to provoke, and then she edited down like ABC News does. Also, I just played the Martha Alito saying, you got to look at this pride flag out my window for a month because you guys, your sexual whatever is in our face all day long. And Mediaite with the headline, Alito's wife made jaw-dropping threats, went on anti-pride rant to other undercover activists. None of that is true, of course, but none of that matters. They have the First Amendment right and all that stuff. Senator Mike Lee, it turns out, is a former law clerk to Samuel Alito. And he was on the Fox News channel this morning, was asked about this left-wing activist.
She showed up as a wolf in sheep's clothing, trying to run Justice Alito into harm. It didn't happen the way that she wanted. Instead, he just gave some natural, obvious answers and expressed a desire to see America return to a time where we more properly reflect standard, traditional American values.
Imagine that, standard American values. Well, the left is here to demolish those. Senator Mike Lee and Samuel Alito, clerk.
This is all part of an intimidation campaign. This reminds me a little bit of what we saw from the left as we were approaching the decision date in NFIB versus Sebelius. That was 11 or 12 years ago. Dealt with Obamacare. There was a massive intimidation campaign waged by the left directed at Chief Justice John Roberts. Now, many believe that Chief Justice John Roberts was going to vote one way and ended up voting another way. Right. Perhaps they think they can do the same to Justice Alito or maybe other members of the court, but definitely they're trying with Justice Alito at least to get him to recuse, right. Get him to take himself out of certain cases important to the left because they fear that Justice Alito is not going to embrace their bad arguments.
Imagine that. Just think of it. And of course, you always find that there are conservative nominees to the court that that go in ways that you don't think they're going to go, that surprise you on verdicts and decisions, and even when they write the majority opinion. And sometimes when they write the minority opinion, they surprise you. The left-wing nominees to the court never surprise you. They always go with what the Democrat Party and the New York Times wants. They're not independent thinkers. They're not intellectuals. They're not legal scholars. They're just Democrats that got the job. The conservative nominees to the court are all great thinkers, great legal scholars, great Supreme Court justices, and that's why you can't predict which way they're going to go on one case or another. But the left is a lynch mob of vile, anti-American gang of authoritarian miscreants, like the Socialist Workers' Party, throwing barbs at Mike the Lib here, of Adolf Hitler. The left is here. They're not liberals. That was an attempt at sabotage. And I got to say, from our mailbag, the comparison to James O'Keefe is an apt comparison, an appropriate comparison. And the news media is here to sabotage the United States of America and to represent the Democrat Party, which is here to dismantle the United States of America. A New York City councilman, a Democrat by the name of Robert Holden, is speaking up and saying our open borders are going to lead to a terror attack in the United States. Democrat New York City Councilman Robert Holden.
It's frightening, and we're headed for another 9/11. I predicted that. I think we should have a secure border. We should know who's coming into our country. We don't, and millions of migrants and illegal aliens have gotten through. So it's a situation that we're just, really rolling the dice here.
Yes, we are. Also in the news today, authorities nab 8 suspected terrorists with ties to ISIS in multi-city sting operation. New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, 8 people with ties to ISIS, the Islamic State, arrested. And they came across our border illegally. They're from Tajikistan. They're Tajiks, and they are Muslims. And it is apparently the same Tajik ISIS group that attacked the theater in Moscow last year and massacred all those people. Also, today is the 8th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre in Florida, where 49 people were murdered and 53 were wounded by an Islamist named Omar Mateen, who praised Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. I don't think that these people are on our side.